Boo! Hey, it's Ronnie, Kimberly, and we're here.
I didn't know we were recording.
No, we're here doing a review of How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci, 7 Steps to Genius Every Day.
So thanks for tuning into this episode. I guess it's a little crazy and wild today. We decided to shoot outside because it's a beautiful, gorgeous day here in Arizona. And this next section is where we got into the exercises on sfumato and what it is. How often do you embrace the unknown? Because that's really, we talked about that yesterday, and these are the exercises that we did where we talked about paying attention to the words we use. Are you intolerant to ambiguity? How many times in a day do you use the words totally, always,
Certainly, must,
never, absolutely? Those are things where you're certain about everything. You're not leaving anything up to chance. So some of the things too that we did, we're going to get into with our kids here. That's why they're here with us today. But there's a funny story. There's lots of funny stories about Leonardo da Vinci. But when he was painting the Last Supper, let's see, what was he called? The prior of Santa Maria dei Grazie, who had contracted the maestro for his services, was not amused with the fact that Leonardo would seemingly spend half a day to 3/4 of a day just staring at the wall. And he expected him to be more like what?
A laborer, just busy all the time.
Don't put down that paintbrush. Be, like someone out doing your yard work. Don't stop. Don't stop and admire the view.
If you're being paid for something, they expect you to always be working.
Well, he complained to the Duke about that. And it was kind of interesting because Leonardo was down to the last 2 faces that he wanted to paint in this picture. And it was the face of Christ and the face of Judas Iscariot. And he said that he didn't think that there was a model. He also doubted his own abilities to paint that particular face. And the fact that he could find a model that would be suitable to be the human model for Christ. Now, contrast that as well
with Judas.
He didn't think that he could find a human being that would have the qualities or
audacity
that of someone who would betray the creator of the world. So, these were this dilemma that he found, and it's funny enough, he told the Duke, he said, if I don't find anyone to fit the bill for Judas, I'll be sure you'll be sure to let the prior know that I'll use his head as the model for that spot. So, he always had a good sense of humor. When it talks about, though, for sfumato for parents, always nurture the idea of games, puzzles, stories. And it's interesting, they say tell stories, your bedtime stories to your kids, but change the endings. It's funny, when the kids were little, we don't do story time quite so much anymore, but we did, didn't we? We would tell, I would tell funny little endings or change the stories up and make them different, or make you guys be characters in the stories. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, do those kind of things as well. And part of sfumato also is trusting your gut, trusting your intuition. And also taking note of the contrasts in your life. Now, Alexis, can you tell us about one of the happiest times in your life?
When it was my birthday.
And why was that so happy?
Because I got presents.
Presents, that makes you happy?
And my family was there with me to celebrate it.
All right, make sure you talk loud so everybody can hear you. Okay, so now contrast that to, honey, what is a time of deep sorrow in your life?
Typically, the most sorrowful times that in my life have been when close family members have passed away. We took care of Kimberly's grandma and grandpa for 12 years. They lived with us, and so we got really, really close. And so when they passed, it was pretty hard, just because we'd grown so close, and they lived with us in our home for 12 years. Helped us in our businesses and everything, and so it was a tough time.
Okay, so now think about in your own life too, what are times when you've experienced joy and sorrow at the same time? Rosemary, can you think of a time? And I know what you're thinking of, and it's along the same lines as what Daddy was saying, huh?
When my grandpa Boyce, he passed away, and it was really sad, but I was also sort of happy for him because he got to go live with his wife again.
Yeah, she passed away, what, 2 or 3 years before?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so, it's, sometimes experiences in life that bring us great sorrow are also times that if we really search inward can also be great joy. Some other times that of I guess contrast experiences in your life to think about are intimacy and independence. You think of your closest relationships and what is your role as an independent in that relationship. Think about
Strength and weakness. Think of your strengths as a person and your weaknesses. Things
good
that
and evil.
Things that you can improve upon.
And good and evil. There's definitely contrasts in today's society of good and evil. Change and constancy.
Mm-hmm. Also humility and pride. There's different parts of our life where we're really proud of things, but also we can be humbled fairly easily as well.
And goals and process. Think about the goals that you want to achieve in your life, but not just the goals themselves, but the process that's going to get you there. Because a lot of times as well, there's going to be challenges as well as good things along that journey. So be mindful of those things that can come up in that process of the journey. And like we mentioned already as well,
life and death, it's going to happen to all of us. And we just, figure out some way of, of how we feel about, dealing with that. So.
And in the closing section of this particular sfumato section of the book, it once again mentions that those who are geniuses, those who are considered some of the great minds of our times, have always taken time to meditate, taken time for solitude, to really think about things. You think about Leonardo painting the Last Supper. It says he would spend a half a day, 3/4 of a day just thinking about what those faces should look like. So, take some time to meditate. Take some time for yourself. On Monday, join us on our next session because we're actually going to be jumping into arte scienza, so the connection of art and science. Going to be some exciting episodes next week as well, so be sure to tune in. And remember, when you wake up
unstoppable.